Howdy, folks. Is Vile Mike here. Got nearly a full panel already. How you guys doing? Because this has been a week, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's saying one thing.
Dandelion, what about you?
Want to Captain MKG?
Doing okay. I'll just wait to see if I actually get to say anything today.
Okay. First thing I want to bring up, because I thought this was the most inane conversation I think I've ever had with somebody. Okay, the reason for the title of this stream was someone was saying to me, and this is a coworker who happens to be very politically minded, let's just put him that way, and he explained to me that the reason Trump is on so many of these people's Epstein survivor lists is because he was working undercover with the FBI in order to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein. And I want to try to get this out in a way that won't get me in trouble. So to maintain his cover, he had to molest children under the age of 16. That's why it's okay.
Okay, that's like saying you're an undercover DEA agent or an undercover cop and you have to
shoot heroin,
drugs, or kill somebody to prove your mission. No, you still can't do that shit.
As an informant, in order to be a informant, you have to be involved in something, period. So that means he's actually physically involved in it before he so-called became an informant.
Besides, if he had been, I think if he had been working undercover for the FBI, he would have told us about it by now.
I think honestly, this is what I'm going to say about the Epstein files when it comes to Trump. I'm not saying his name's not in there, but if he had done any of those things that happened, we'd have found out about it by now.
He has been accused of it by people.
I'm saying,
hold on, Ebby. This is what the point he was trying to say. He was trying to say he doesn't care if Trump is actually guilty of molesting children. He says that the reasons Trump did it were okay, and he agrees with it.
Yeah, that's completely fucked up. No. That's not even funny. That's just fucking sick.
I have to laugh, or otherwise I'm going to cry. And
guys, Dandelion's trying to say something. She wants to say something for once. Can you guys let her speak?
Well, sorry if I'm interrupting her.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say I'm going to mute for 5 minutes because my kitchen's really noisy. I can't hear you guys very well, and my kettle's almost boiled.
Okay, sorry. I saw you trying to say something, Dandelion. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It wasn't that important. I could have just put it in the private chat. It's all good.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fucking stupid. I mean, holy hell. The fact that we have crazies that even think that way just... Oh, well, the FBI said he could... No, there's no fucking way. We both know. Even like Elihu, he said it right. To be a confidential informant, you have to be involved in the shit already.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's what a CI is.
Well, apparently, okay, I wanted to go back to what you were talking about with the undercover, because if you're a police officer and you're undercover, you can do drugs to prove that you are undercover. You know what I mean? To hide your cover.
No, but actually, I've heard from many federal agencies, you can't do that. That'll make that can contaminate your testimony in court.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get onto, NB.
Okay.
In order to maintain your cover, you are allowed to, but it instantly makes all your testimony suspect, and it means that you can't be, while you are under the influence, you are not. Your testimony won't be upheld, most likely.
It won't be admissible.
Yes.
Because how are you supposed to give testimony when you're under the influence of a narcotic?
If this whole thing was a hoax, if this whole thing was a hoax, why was he an informant?
I don't understand some of the mentality about it, but it just goes to show the length some people would justify it.
Not even, you know, Mike, I got to be honest with you, man. You got some freaks over there in California, because I'm telling you what, I hadn't even heard that shit. That's like so out the. I'm like, this is one of those guys. I'd be like, okay, you're a QAnon fuck.
I don't know. He's one of the only ones that are like him. First of all, he's one of the only guys that are on our team. We've got like 3 guys on our team that are men. Are, you know what I mean? The rest are all women. But because of his outspokenness and the fact that we can't seem to fire anybody because we're so short-staffed.
Hire taller staff.
What? Sorry?
Hire taller staff.
Thank you. Save that for the next stream. I want more dad jokes.
Okay.
No, he basically, whenever we have a 2-person job, a lot of the people don't really want to work with him anymore. And apparently I'm able to work with him mostly because I just let him talk. But that's why I end up talking with him fairly often. And he literally starts to text me as his liberal friend.
I all I know is this. The first time I met somebody who was what you call QAnon was back when I was still in the Air Force. And, you know, I was at...
Wait, how long has QAnon actually been a thing? I'm not actually terribly familiar when it started.
I don't know. I only know he was QAnon because he mentioned it to me.
I think it started in 2005.
Yeah, I don't know when it. All I know is we were sitting in the MPF, and you know they have the news on all the time. So CNN, Fox, you know, they just put the random channels on, and we just started getting into a conversation. And then he goes, "Have you heard of QAnon?" I was like, "No." And he just started going off what they were talking about. And I think this was, oh God, this was back during, this was back during Obama's second term. Okay. I was just trying to remember how far back. I was trying to remember how far back it went. And the guy started spewing this right-wing stuff at me and as far right-wing as you guys know I am, at least I don't, well, jokingly, I don't think I'm far right. I just told him after about a minute of listening to him talk, I said, yeah, dude, you're not a conservative. I said, you're a nut. I flat out said that. I said, I'm a conservative. You're a fucking wacko. And I don't want to be, I'm thinking, hurry up and call my name because I don't want to be around this fucker. Like, this is the kind of guy that makes people like me look bad.
Just look in the mirror.
So that was my first experience with what QAnon was. I've never. It's like sometimes I'll even like look something up and like it'll pop up QAnon. I'm like, I don't want to go to that site.
Well,
RFK
I don't know about
Jr.
I do want to talk about one of the things since MKG brought it up. Okay. The autism with acetaminophen link that he's citing a preliminary study about. The issue I have with this is one of the reasons that acetaminophen is given to pregnant women as a painkiller is because it is one of the most well-studied drugs on the market.
I have a follow-up for that one too when you're done your comment.
Okay.
So do I.
So we know that it has almost no effects on the fetal development whatsoever.
Yes.
And that's why it is prescribed to pregnant women. That's why aspirin is not, despite the fact that aspirin is also well studied and well documented and been used for centuries. If you go even as far back for Native American use, we know that even they knew that not to give aspirin to pregnant women, or at least the tea made from the bark. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So saying that autism is connected to it is like saying that autism is connected to water.
Well, and also, if I may, that study has actually been like they did find like that a lot of people with autism, the women had taken Tylenol, but it was disproven because in sibling studies, like the same woman had taken Tylenol in other pregnancies, and those children did not have autism. So there's no way that it was disproven that there was a link between Tylenol and autism.
Yeah.
All right, this is an area. Just real quick, Mike. This is an area where I'm going to say I'm going to defer to you guys because medical, the vaccine stuff, it's not an area I'm good at. Like, for example, when I was doing a survey and it asked me what my thoughts were on back in the day when they were talking about stem cell research, and, a lot of the religious organizations were against it. And I was like, I don't know anything about it. So I have no say. I have no opinion.
Autism was officially recognized as a medical disease in 1943. Tylenol was acetaminophen with Tylenol, the product. The first one was given to the public in 1953. Before that, less than 1% of the U.S. population was given prescription acetaminophen. After 1953, after 1953, there's been several name brands of acetaminophen besides Tylenol. Tylenol is a name brand. You have the Up and Up. You got CVS Health. You got Kirkland's Inventory. You got Midol. You got NyQuil. You got Floricet.
Okay, I get all that. What is your primary point? Because this is a preliminary study, and I didn't do a deep dive into it because it's as a preliminary study, not everything's been released yet. But to me, it's definitely just a correlation effect. It's not necessarily a causation.
The thing is, every single study that's been hang on, Mike. The thing is, every single study that's been released has actually been verified by different medical companies and peer reviews that acetaminophen Tylenol does not cause autism. When RFK Jr. brings this up, he never cites any source of his reports. He never cites any surveys. Never cites any doctor's names. All he says is this and this and this. Never backs anything up. When somebody else says something, they always back it up with a report. All he does is spew shit.
Well, the other thing, if I may, is he occasionally will cite an actual study, but he doesn't cite any of the follow-up studies that proved that study. Like you can't just have a study and then that's your answer. You have to repeat the study, or you have to look at other factors. And once they've done that with a lot of these studies, it's been proven that study was it didn't have a valid conclusion.
But Daniela, you got to remember who pays for the studies, because when the study is done, some of the companies actually pay for the studies to benefit their own, like Coca-Cola, like tobacco companies. They pay for studies to benefit their product. Who is paying for these studies?
And that is actually something I would agree with Elihu on, and the pharmaceuticals are no different. And I'll give you a personal example. My ex-wife's bipolar, and she was on lithium. And when I joined the military, we moved, and they changed her medications. And I trusted the doctors because, it was like, okay, maybe this is a newer drug. Long story short, there was a doctor when I joined the Air Force that put her on a medication that turned her into what I called a zombie. I mean, literally, I could see her skin, I could see her bones through her skin. They were protruding so bad. And when I talked to the doctor finally about it the next time, I'm like, this stuff is bad. I mean, this is not working for her. This is going to kill her. He wanted to increase the dosage. And this was the first time I noticed something. Every fucking thing in there, from the pads to the pins, was that company of that medication he wanted to do increaser on. I fired him after that.
Well,
And unfortunately, this is where I hate to say it. We'd like to believe all science and doctors are ethical, but unfortunately, we've kind of found a reality where some of them are just fucking political. And like Elihu was saying, they just they pay for shit to make what their study looks like look good.
well, here's one of the things I'll get at. This is why we need a robust university system when it comes to doing actual research. And it's one of the reasons why I don't like the idea of not funding the research at universities. Because yes, what happens sometimes is you have a company like a tobacco company who will fund a study. Now, they want to fund a study because they want a certain outcome. The thing is, if they're going through an actual research, like a company, the company can obviously manipulate the data in order to get what the, say, tobacco company wants. Whereas a university, if the tobacco company is paying the university to do it, the university has to release everything as is. They have to release all the information given. So sometimes you will have a company that wants a certain outcome for a study, but what ends up happening is they find out, oh shit, we actually just paid for a study that tells us that yes, we actually are poisoning people. So yeah, you do have to find out who wrote the paper, and whether they're doing it for a company or if they're doing it for a university. But 9 times out of 10, the studies are going to be legit. I will put it that way.
Okay, well, Dandelion, how does it work in Canada? Who do you have in charge of your health care?
Our healthcare is like we have universal healthcare, so the government.
Yeah, but don't you have like a minister of health or something?
Yeah. I'm sure we have a minister of health. I don't like. Yeah, I mean, Canadian politics is a lot more boring than yours. Yours is way more entertaining to watch. But yeah, we have a minister of health, but we've also got like non-political boards that like review like new pharmaceuticals and things. So some of the pharmaceuticals that you have, we don't have here. Like we can't get them. Like they're not
there's another thing too.
They're the benefits of them don't outweigh the risks and that kind of thing. So
I'd actually like to, if you could do this one time, Dandelion, when you go to the supermarket, could you take a picture of the ingredients on the cereals there? And because I'd be very curious.
Can you name a cereal you want the picture of? Because I don't go down the cereal aisle. I don't eat cereal.
Sugar cereal, healthy cereal.
Pick a type of cereal, because what you want to know.
Lucky Charms, and Cheerios.
Yeah,
Cheerios.
Okay. All right,
Lucky Charms and Cheerios.
4 days, so I just need you to pick one.
Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops,
and Cheerios.
I'm very curious about. I've heard I've heard about how.
Well, hold on. I do think I wanted to say. I just want to say that Lucky Charms and Cheerios should be a good example, because at least in the United States they both have the same manufacturer.
Okay, yeah, and I'd be very curious to see what the ingredients are there versus what they are here, because
I mean,
as far as I understand it, you have a much stricter dietary. You have more dietary restrictions on.
I mean, oftentimes it's just the same thingy, but under a different name, or they ban.
No, but I mean, it's the ingredients in it.
I'll take a look and see. Yeah, I can take a look and see.
Yeah, I'd be very curious.
I'll try and remember anyway. I have to go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to write it on my grocery list so I don't forget, because I got to go do groceries this morning.
One of the things that's kind of funny is when I look at the ingredients list when I'm in Mexico, 9 times out of 10, I can tell exactly what's in something from the ingredients, because even if it's in Spanish, because of the scientific nomenclature. So when I had to read it, I'm like, oh, I still know what that is.
Yeah, dude. You know, if you get married, you're gonna have to learn how to speak Spanish one of these days because you're gonna have to immigrate to Mexico. Because last time I checked, she ain't coming to the United States.
I have a 60-day streak on my Duolingo for Spanish.
Does your girlfriend take her shoe off and hit you when you get something wrong?
It's called a chancla, not a shoe.
Not yet, but I do. We do said videos. Chancla.
You hit with the chancla. Okay, get it right, man. Get the vernacular correct.
But yeah, that particular one, to go back to it, the autism just seems to be a genetic thing. I don't see.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any environmental factors that cause it one way or the other. And one of the other aspects I've seen, one of the few studies that I've read about autism that actually seems to be, fairly robust, is the idea that autism seems to be more prevalent in second, third, and fourth born children as opposed to first.
If you want to see a good movie about autism, Temple Gardner.
Rain Man.
Well, Rain Man too, but Temple Gardner
that fart scene in that phone booth is totally improvised. I love that.
Oh my god. Lucky Charms just comes in like 6 varieties.
Basic Lucky Charms.
I can't even see that on the website. Minis with the Lucky Charms minis, Lucky Charms s'mores, Lucky Charms jumbo rainbow, Lucky Charms rainbow sprinkles,
tell me about it.
Lucky Charms chocolatey chocolate.
What?
Yeah.
Lucky Charms has chocolate? Wait. Lucky Charms has chocolate? I've never seen that down here. What the fuck? I gotta go to
Yeah, it's one of the ones they have.
It does say new.
I've never seen it here.
I miss Count Chocula.
That is still released every holiday season. Although
I know it is.
What's really funny about it is, those boxes, because of the preservatives, can last like 2 years on the shelf. So one of the things I see is, sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to finish. Is you'll see like major companies like Vons, Albertsons, Safeway, Walmart. They'll have it during the actual Halloween season. And then you'll start finding them after the holiday season, or after the Halloween season, at like Dollar Tree and Dollar General and places like that, because they were now shipped or they were sold from the major companies to the smaller companies to get rid of that stock.
What's that place my wife goes to that gets all that stuff? Oh God, I cannot think of the name of it. They get all the stuff that's like the big box stores no longer take, and they're discounted. We found some good stuff there. Oh fuck, I forgot what it's called. I know it. I can see the name of it. There's Ross, TJ Maxx, Big Lots,
Dollar Tree, Dollar General.
No, not.
We got a couple of smaller ones here.
Ask my wife because this is gonna drive me fucking nuts.
But yeah, I've found like Target exclusives for certain toys at like TJ Maxx and Kirkland Signature stuff at Ross. So yeah, they're selling that stuff all over just to get it off the shelf sometimes. But let's see. Which thing did you want to talk about, Elihu, from the DMs? Because I don't remember.
I have a question for NB.
Yo.
Okay, NB. Do you believe that, or do you find it logically? Do you think it's legal for a U.S. sitting president to verbally take away a U.S. citizen's First Amendment rights?
Woodrow Wilson did it.
I'm talking about verbally rescinding a U.S. citizen's First Amendment rights without any writing anything down, just verbally doing it. Is that legal? Do you believe that's legal or not?
No, obviously not.
Okay, are you aware what Trump did yesterday or Friday?
Wait,
Uh,
hold on. Did you actually send this to me? Because I don't remember seeing this.
Yes, I did. Are you aware
Oh,
what
okay.
Trump did Friday, AMD?
can't say if you're talking about something about a citizen. No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay, let me give you a brief summary. Brian Glenn, who is a White House correspondent and the husband of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, told Donald Trump, quote, "There's a blue tent outside the White House. It has become anti-American, anti-Trump." Trump said, "Take it down right now." The blue tent in question is the World Peace Blue Tent that's been there since 1942. He ordered Secret Service to dismantle the protest and disperse the people. He just took away their First Amendment rights verbally. How do you feel about this?
I'd have to look at the full context of everything that happened.
I just told you what happened.
I understand you told me a synopsis of what happened. I unfortunately am not familiar with the site you're even talking about.
I'll be honest, I'm not terribly familiar with it either. So
the Blue World Peace Tent has been there.
I'm saying, of course, I don't believe anybody should have their First Amendment rights taken away. Like I said, all I'm saying is I'm not familiar with what you're referring to, so I can't really speak on it.
He told somebody. He told people who were protesting.
I understand what you're saying, Elihu.
Yeah. He just said he doesn't know what to say about it because he doesn't know enough about it. And I'll be honest, I don't know enough about it either to say anything either. So that's the answer we have.
The context is not the blue tent. The context is he's basically verbally took away U.S. citizens' First Amendment rights.
Okay. Did he actually do that, or did he just take down the tent?
He did that. He told Secret Service to take down the tent and disperse people.
Okay.
Secret Service took down the tent and dispersed the people.
I get that, but again, was it just because they were saying things that he didn't like, or was it because of another reason they're saying is the actual reason?
It's a protest. He did not like what they were saying because Glenn said it was, quote, anti-Trump. So he told that Secret Service, take it down, disperse the protest.
What did they say that was anti-Trump?
That's all he said was anti-Trump, and Trump said, take it down right now. No interjection between those two words. That's all he said. All he said was anti-Trump. Trump said, take it down right now, without any pause. He ordered Secret Service to dismantle the protest.
Yeah, I don't know enough about this story to actually then comment, because to me, there has to be something being left out. I'm not trying to defend Trump or anything like that. It's just that
all I'm saying is, and
I don't know why.
Elihu, I'm not saying that this is something that should have happened or shouldn't have happened. I only have what you're saying. We just need to do a little research, check the context of what you're saying, to have a more grounded opinion, or to have a better rounded understanding of what you're saying.
Okay,
I mean,
listen to this. How about listening to this?
Understand this. Nobody's calling you a liar.
Yeah.
Just outside of White House is a blue tent.
Hold on, Elihu, hold on. Your system just went weirdly, so I'm going to mute you for a sec. Like you went just on speakerphone or something.
I did it on purpose. I was playing the clip.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, to me it sounded really off, and it was really loud on my phone.
Just DM it to us, guys. Just DM it to us, buddy.
Anti-nuclear tent for nuclear arms. It's kind of morphed into more of an anti-American, sometimes anti-Trump. Where is this?
Can you guys understand what is being said?
No, not really.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you guys.
Send it to us, Elihu, because my hearing is freaking excellent, and even I can't make out that stuff. But since you brought up the thing about protests, I saw a article that came up about Portland and the issue of there's been, I guess, like 80 days of protesting outside an immigration facility or an ICE facility, And people have been calling the cops and they're not showing up because I guess, order is they're not to help ICE in any way, shape, or form. So for them to go and arrest any of the protesters would be seen as supporting ICE. So these calls are not being answered.
Actually, I need to clarify that.
Yeah, go ahead, Elijah.
Okay. I've heard about the protests that have been going on. Same thing here in San Francisco. People doing the exact same thing. Police are showing. Yeah, police are showing up for crowd control. The only time they will arrest somebody if they're becoming violent or aggressive. They have no other reason to arrest somebody. They've been all peaceful. The only thing that's been aggravated was yelling. This has been happening in San Francisco as well. I know exactly what's going on in Portland, man.
There are people who have been calling. I've heard the 911 calls, and they're like, people are getting beat up. People are getting.
That's been false information. There's been no reports of any aggravated assault or anything like that.
All I'm saying is that's what the 911 calls are saying. I can only go off of what I've heard.
I know. I looked at the police report.
And the report is the cops are not coming into the Portland area over there because they do not. One person said that the cop told them if it was anybody but ICE, we'd be over there.
I actually did hear about the Portland thing, and they're actually bringing in footage from the Black Lives Matter protests from 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I did not see those.
That was the footage that's been circulating. Is not current footage; it's old footage, and they're just repurposing.
No, I've seen the current footage. I know the Black Lives Matter, the Portland stuff, the Summer of Love. I remember all that quite well.
I had a bunch of people who were just down in Portland, and it was fine. We just had a trade show in Portland.
Yeah, a lot of the things that I've seen on social media regarding that has been people doing that kind of stuff. It happens all the time. You have a clip that you want to say is something else. I've seen it for Gaza. I've seen it for Israel. I've seen it for Ukraine and Russia. The protests in the U.S. I mean, hell, I've seen things that were people protesting in the Philippines and people saying that this is happening in Los Angeles right now, and it's no.
I know. I've seen places that have done things like, oh, this is so and so. I'm like, no, I know that street. That's not that street.
Oh yeah, when it gets to that, when they actually say specific streets, that is what bugs me the most. Is because I'm like, I live in San Diego. I've seen some of that stuff. That's not what's happening.
Yeah. No, and I'm not saying that these people don't have the right to protest in Portland. I'm just saying I wonder, if the cops really are not showing up and there is civil unrest going on, is it because there is, this polarizing dynamic that it's, no, we're not going to help the federal government do anything no matter what, or we're not going to specifically for this purpose.
I'm sure people
do anything for ICE agencies. No. I'm just saying when we have the federal government and the local government at odds with each other, it seemed I've never seen anything quite like this.
Well, sure, you have,
Mike, or
what I mean,
have you ever
and MB. I want to say,
yeah, I have January 6th.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not even bringing up that. MB, let's put it this way: do you think state and local officials should start arresting people who smoke weed for federal crimes?
They can't arrest somebody for that.
No, smoking weed is still on the federal level illegal.
Federal crime, yes.
So do you think? So do you want to see police officers arresting people on the street for smoking weed for committing a federal crime?
Only if it's on federal property.
Yeah, it's only matters if it's on federal property, and only they can arrest that, and only the.
But what I'm getting,
local police can arrest you on federal property if you're smoking weed on federal property.
Well, yeah, if you're
you see it all the time.
Supposed to smoke
what I'm
weed
getting
on
at,
federal property.
Let him be.
What I'm getting at, what I'm getting at is you all the time. You see cops not following federal laws, so it's not a big deal. state and local cops not doing it.
Well,
So I don't see it as a big deal. I think that it's up
I'm not
to the individual municipalities whether they want to.
I can see your point of view. I don't necessarily agree with the analogy, the comparison, but I understand what you're saying there, and I can definitely see a bit of a point of view. My question is, there's got to be a way we can balance this out. This shouldn't be polarizing. The biggest problem we have
Trump should
is
start following the law then.
Well, I would say
is we'll take this for example, Dandelion. 35 states have legalized weed,
Mhm.
and it's still a federal crime.
Yeah, it should be changed on the federal level, but I'm also saying that when it comes to a state like
when it
comes to a state like what's in the middle of the country, let's say Kansas.
Yeah.
Landlocked in the middle of the country, has some of the lowest immigration or illegal immigration in the country because it's so far away from any international borders, and because there's very few international airports. So,
what does immigration have to do with this?
Because we're talking about ICE. Now,
we're talking about illegals. We're not talking about immigrants.
I thought we were talking about weed, not lice.
No,
yeah, we were talking about weed.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was using that as a comparison.
Canadians believe in personal freedom, so we don't have weed. Weed is legalized here.
Yeah, how long ago?
10 years now.
Yeah, the irony is, the first state to legalize weed?
Was it Florida?
No.
Oregon.
I thought it was California, guys.
Oregon, then
No.
I helped write the law. No, it was Oregon. I helped write the law in California to help legalize it for medicinal before I came back to that.
Yeah, and California did it first for hold on. California did it first for medicinal purposes only.
Yeah,
but the definition was hold on. The definition of it was so broad that you could get your medicinal marijuana card for damn near anything, including depression, stress, glaucoma.
Oh, you can do that now.
That was the point. That was the point of Part B. Okay, it was for basically anything mental or physical. It didn't have anything specific.
My daughter. Okay, you talk about that. Think about this. I live in Indiana. I am in a weed desert. Every state around me has it legal for recreational or medical in one form or fashion, and hey, I voted for these guys in office, but I'm like, every time I hit them up, I'm like, can we make weed legal? I'm tired of going to Illinois and paying them money. My daughter said, just use my address and get yourself a medical card. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Although I did get tempted a few times because of the amount of cost and taxes. And Eli, who knows this, you get a discount on the taxes because you got medical, right, Eli? Who?
Yep. Here, there's dispensaries that give discounts to seniors, vets, and disabled and locals.
Yep. Oh, I went up Labor Day, got their Labor Day sale, man. Shit was like 40% off.
Yeah, I now qualify for a senior discount. Go figure.
You qualify for a senior discount? You're not 65.
No, I'm 50. There was one dispensary that offered senior discounts at 50 and plus. I'm like, I finally qualify for a senior dispensary. I'm like, oh shit, I'm old.
Okay. Well, I don't think being that young qualifies. I'm going to say 50 is young.
Yeah,
it's still going to be a decade before I'm 50.
I know. I'm like, shit, I'm old, man. I got a discount here now. The lady's like, yeah, you're over 50. Like, okay, I'll take her 5% off.
I'm not going to ask Dandelion's age because I know you don't ask that of a
She's
female.
29.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm 54.
All right.
45?
The last thing we'll bring up for the last 5 minutes.
I was going to ask her, hold on a second. I was going to ask her, are you millennial or Gen X?
Gen X. 171.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, I'm on the cusp between Gen X and
you're the
millennial, and I'm 40.
zillennial. You're
So.
the one we allow in. You're in that age bracket we allow in.
Yeah. So.
Well, you kind of got to give the 81 to 84 guys a break.
All right.
What was
So the
your
last
question,
thing
Mike?
I want to bring up, because Captain MKG mentioned it in the comments, is the whole Department of Defense versus Department of War thing. Because
oh yeah, it was.
It's a nickname.
Okay,
He can
guys,
legally call it a nickname, but Congress has to officially change the name. So right now, it's technically a nickname.
Yeah, the whole thing with that is it was the Department of War until I can't remember
After the Second World War.
No. Yes, but there was
1949. It was 1949. It was changed to the Department of Defense.
Yeah, exactly.
I
There
thought
was
it started
a
in
law that we
1947.
restructured, and it was no longer called the Department of War. It was called the Department of Defense.
Well, it was the Department of Military Establishment for a while. But to me,
all right.
I've always heard of it as the Department of War, and then it was changed at the 1949. Something to do with 1949. It was changed to the Department of Defense.
Well,
yeah,
it involved
Congress.
Congress had to do. Yeah, exactly. Congress had to change to prove the change.
Well, because originally, remember, the Department of War did not include the Navy or what was the other one? The Marines. Thank you.
It
was just the Army.
That's because the Marines are a department of the Navy. Just like, okay, for example, the Space Force is under the Department of the Air Force.
Well, wasn't it originally that you guys didn't have a standing army, and that was part of the reason for your Second Amendment? There was no.
We've always had a standing army.
No, actually, the Second Amendment did not.
So that they could expand any army quickly.
No, actually, Dandelion, when we fought against Britain, we weren't under what we call the Constitution. We were under the Articles of Confederation. And the Constitution wasn't written until like 15 years later. And the amendments to the Constitution, which we call the Bill of Rights, were not put in the original Constitution. That was a way of appeasing the anti-federalists because the federalists had won power.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
I know it's
but I'm thinking that perhaps part of the Department of War would be that, like, during a time of war, the department became bigger, and then after those two wars, it was determined that, like, you needed to have a larger sort of like constant like military that was a bit bigger, but it was more about defending the country than about going out and attacking, which is what war sounds more like.
Yeah, the Department of War was during World War II, and it was changed after the war ended.
Yeah, but
it was changed after World War II. Yes.
Basically, what happened was they were they were splitting off the Air Force from the Army, and they wanted to bring
somewhat. No.
And they wanted to bring all the branches of the military under a single cabinet position. So what they did is they created the Department of the War Establishment, the Department of the Military Establishment, or Military Establishment Department, which later on got changed to the Department of Defense. But that brought in, the Army and the Navy basically under a single cabinet position.
I have a question for you. Do you know the one branch of the military that is not under the DoD?
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, correct. Who are they under, Elihu?
They're under the Department of Homeland Security, but here's the thing.
Who were they originally under before?
Authorized under the state.
Yeah, but weren't they were part of the Department of Transportation before?
Yeah.
It's just fun trivia, man.
Well, if you ever watched my video on the Space Force, on the TV show, I did a semi deep dive into that because the Coast Guard the Coast Guard has been put under the control of the Department of the Navy on 2 separate occasions. Do you know those 2 separate occasions?
They've never
been trafficking and Cuba.
It was a Tuesday.
No, it was World War I and World War II.
And actually, I think you're a little off on that. Well, yeah, because that was the Department of War.
Yeah, but it
That
was
wasn't the Department of Defense. It was
no. Remember,
actually they
in
were
World War One and World War One and World War Two, the Department of War did not control the Navy. It was the Department of the Navy that controlled the Navy.
The Coast Guard is not a department of the Navy.
No, but the Coast Guard was put under the Department of the Navy twice.
Okay, well,
Once during World War One and once during
the
World War Two.
yeah, and like I said, that was the Department of War.
No, again, the Department of War only managed the United States Army. They did not manage the Department of or the United States Navy.
Okay,
Even during those wars.
Yeah, you look, man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really remember that much about the department. I'm not. You know, my history when it comes to stuff focuses mainly on Revolutionary to Civil Wars.
What I'm just saying is, yeah, the Department of War and the Department of the Navy did interact quite a bit at during World War One and Two.
One of the reasons,
still two separate departments.
And one of the reasons why we had created the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11 was because people weren't sharing information.
It was another way of combining certain.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was.
I still don't agree with it.
Well, I don't agree with everything they did, but I do agree with some of the stuff they did.
Did you agree with the Patriot Act? I didn't.
No, heck no. But I just wanted to say,
I voted for the fucker. I didn't support the Patriot Act.
Well, neither did I. Even at the time, I thought it was way too over-encompassing. But that's 20 years in the past. I'm not going to go too much into it. But especially since
it shows you that I'm not hypocritical, where I'm like, no, I hated it, and it's like the same thing I say with Obama. He did some good things. So did Clinton.
But the only question I just had was about the name change and what you guys' thoughts about it were, because I think it's kind of stupid, just on the surface, because I don't like the idea of the United States being in the current day. Having something called the Department of War is antagonistic. Even the
peace president.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, can you know? And I'm just going to say this: to understand peace, you have to know war. And I'm saying that from
stop paraphrasing Tao Xing, Art of War.
Why shouldn't I?
Quote it correctly.
Well, hold on. Did you mean? Hold on. NB, I gotta interrupt you. I gotta interrupt you, NB.
Yeah.
Elihu, did you mean Sun Tzu?
Sorry, Sun Tzu. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought he got the name wrong.
Sing of the Poet. Sorry.
Yeah, Sun Tzu, man. Who are you even talking about?
Sorry, I'm sick of a poet.
But I want to. The reason I wanted to bring it up was because even the government of 1984 knew that you can't really have something called the Department of War. You guys remember what they called it in 1984?
It's been a while since I've read it now. The Department of...
the Ministry of Peace.
Yeah. Okay.
Or mini-packs.
I forgot. Man, it's been a while.
Because remember, they always wanted to portray the enemy as the aggressors.
It was the propaganda thing. Same thing. You got to think about it. Look at the propaganda thing that both the Soviets and the Americans did to, show how the other side was horrible people. No. I'm just saying, it's always interesting how that propaganda stuff. One of the reasons why I understand why we became the Department of Defense, and this is something I know a lot of people hate, is why do we spend so much money on our military? Unfortunately, we've been doing this since
Hold on, NB, that's going to go into a much larger... Hold on, NB, I'm going to interrupt you only because it's going to be a much larger topic, and I want to take a small break to Gelogia before the CNA stream.
Here, plumb out of time.
Okay, so let's pick that one back up next week, maybe.
All right.
I just want to tell NB something real fast about that. The Trump administration has cut funding for all countries that border Russia right now.
Well, Elihu, again, we'll talk about that on a different thing. We're out of time. So I'm gonna
Okay.
All right.
end the
See you in
stream.
about 15.
I'll see you. Yeah. Bye.
See you in
Okay.
about 15.
Later, guys.